On today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which is one of the most prominent cities in the Raleigh Triangle area, and in fact, all of North Carolina. So first off, what is Chapel Hill like? Chapel Hill is an extremely charming, if not the most charming city town in the Triangle area, really one of the most charming in the country. It was voted one of the most beautiful cities in all of the United States. And it's also a historic city. Chapel Hill is home to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, which is the oldest state university in the country. It was chartered in 1789, and the first students started showing up in 1793. Currently, the population of Chapel Hill is coming in around 65,000 people, which makes it the 5th largest city in the Triangle. And again, it is home to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I admit I am a little bit biased. I did go to school at UNC, so I apologize if this video is a little slanted. I will do my best to be a little impartial, although we know it's way better than NC State and Duke University. I mean, everybody knows that. So now let's talk about location. Chapel Hill is located on the west side of the Triangle. So if you're looking down on a map, you would see Wendell, Knightdale on the eastern side, Chapel Hill, Carrboro, Pittsboro, Hillsboro on the western side. It's going to take you about 20 minutes to get into Durham, although getting to the streets at South Point section of South Durham is quite a bit quicker. More on that later. And you're only about 30 to 40 minutes from Raleigh. Incidentally, Chapel Hill makes up one of the 3 cities, along with Raleigh and Durham, that comprise the Triangle. If you look down on a map and draw a line between Chapel Hill and Durham, Chapel Hill and Raleigh, Raleigh and Durham, you end up with a triangle, which is how we got the name of being the Triangle here in the Raleigh area. And of course, because of its location and its relatively close proximity to Durham, you are very, very close, therefore, to the Research Triangle Park, which a lot of the Research Triangle Park is in Durham County. Next up, let's talk about commute times overall. As we said, from Chapel Hill to Durham, you're looking at about 20 to 25 minutes. From Chapel Hill to downtown Raleigh, you're looking at about 40 minutes. Getting to Research Triangle Park from Chapel Hill is going to take you about 20 to 25 minutes, and that is depending on where you live. And getting to the RDU airport is going to take you about 25 minutes from Chapel Hill. Next up, let's talk about some of the new and exciting things that are coming soon development-wise in Chapel Hill, starting with Aura Chapel Hill. This opened in 2024. This is a mixed-use development. There are restaurants and retail and office in this complex. Very, very cool complex. As well, there's the redevelopment of the old University Mall. It's now University Place. For anyone who's been to Chapel Hill over the years, you know University Malls was a traditional enclosed mall that, as with all enclosed malls, was kind of going down. Well, they've redeveloped it now with apartments and outdoor walkable restaurants and shops, etc. And of course, they've retained a lot of the interior of the mall. Very, very cool mall. This is always the mall that you would go to or want to go to if you're looking for that gift for someone who has everything. Lots of eclectic independent stores in University Mall, now University Place. As well, there's been a lot of restaurants that have popped up in this complex that are really, really cool. Definitely a place we recommend you check out, at least for lunch, if you're coming to Chapel Hill to explore, to decide if it is a good place for you to move to. As well, another exciting development is called South Creek. This is a $500 million project in Chapel Hill. This is a mixed-use project with homes in the complex. 815 homes all told will be built out in this complex. It'll also have between 21,000 and 52,000 square feet worth of retail and commercial space in this complex when it's all done. So really, really exciting growth going on in Chapel Hill. Next up, let's talk about the restaurants you're gonna find in Chapel Hill. And that is one of the things that's really, really great about Chapel Hill, is although it's really heavily influenced by the university, and there's a lot of university grub food that you can find in and around Chapel Hill, although that's the case, there still are some really, really cool restaurants in the Chapel Hill area. But we have to start with one of our favorites, which is campus grub food of sorts, Al's Burger Shack. There's a couple locations of Al's. This was voted the #1 burger joint in the entire country by TripAdvisor in 2018. But most importantly, we did a video of the top 50 plus burgers in the Raleigh Triangle area a few years ago, and we literally knew that Owl's had won after the first bite. This is an exceptional burger. Even if you're not a real big burger aficionado, we highly recommend you check this place out. The great thing is, it looks literally like, where is Chris telling me to go to? This place does not look special. It's like shack-ish looking. Certainly no white tablecloths at this place. Very, very casual. Probably would recommend you not go on a cold day because they have very limited inside seating at the Franklin Street location. There's one in Southern Village down the street that is enclosed indoors, but I personally like the authentic original. Definitely a place we recommend you go. Again, amazing burgers. They take very, very good quality products and turn them into an amazing burger. So there's one place we recommend you dine at in Chapel Hill. Beyond that, we highly recommend you go check out Top of the Hill. This has been open since 1986. Originally on this lot was a gas station. I remember going to school and seeing this gas station, and all of a sudden they tore it down and put this 2.5-story building here. It's a restaurant with some really amazing views of Franklin Street, plus a brewery. Really, really cool. This is the place to go if there's a game that's on. Either you don't have tickets to a football, basketball game on campus and you want to hang out with people and have fun, or maybe it's an away game. Anyway, it's a really, really great place to go. This is the prime spot also when Carolina wins a national championship, because they flood the Franklin Street, right in front of Top of the Hill. And so this becomes a great place to see everybody and watch the spectators and all that good stuff. So highly recommend Top of the Hill. Next place we want to tell you about is Sunrise Biscuit. There are 2 Sunrise Biscuits around. This is a local operation. There's one in Lewisburg, North Carolina, also in the Triangle. And this one here in Chapel Hill is near that University Mall that we told you about. It's a drive-through only location, but it is in tremendous demand. Great biscuits. Their claim to fame is a chicken and cheese biscuit, but honestly, I've been here many times over the years and have never had a bad biscuit. So as you're coming in to visit Chapel Hill to decide if it's a good place for you to move, definitely allocate breakfast time to go through Sunrise Biscuit. They're super nice, great food, highly recommended restaurant. And then on another day that you want to go have a breakfast meal, we recommend Carolina Coffee Shop. This place has been here since 1922. And so if I take my shoes off, I would be able to calculate that it's been here over 100 years. Their claim is that and I have no doubt about this, they are one of the longest continuously running restaurants in the entire state of North Carolina. Super cool. Open for breakfast and brunch and lunch. They close about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Really great place for coffee, hence the name Carolina Coffee Shop, but also excellent place for breakfast, brunchy foods, and some lunch foods. Very recommended, right on Franklin Street. A couple of others we want to tell you about. These are more fine dining type places. There's Tallulah's. This is a Turkish restaurant. Been around for quite a while. Very highly rated restaurant in Chapel Hill. As well as Jujube. This is a Cantonese, Vietnamese, Indian, and Indonesian blended menued restaurant. Been very successful. These are just a couple of the fine dining. There's also a lot of others in the Chapel Hill area. Definitely check out Yelp, check out Open Table. You're going to find some really good restaurants. One of the good things about Chapel Hill and the area at large is we're pretty honest on our Yelp and Open Table reviews. So if you see something that interests you restaurant wise, maybe it's an Indian restaurant or an Italian restaurant, and it gets a lot of really good points, 4.5, 5-star points, probably a good place to go check out. Again, some really good restaurants in Chapel Hill. A lot of people, again, make the mistake of thinking that Chapel Hill is just burgers and hot dogs and food, pizza and stuff that the students would eat. Because so many people have moved to Chapel Hill, not only because they maybe went to school and stayed there, or they've moved in the area because they want the quality of life. Well, obviously because of that and the fact that the demographic is getting a bit older, you're starting to see many nice, really cool restaurants all around the Chapel Hill, South Durham / Carborough area. Next up, we need to tell you about grocery stores and shopping. So one of the huge claims to fame of Chapel Hill is you're getting that southern small town village vibe, but you've got the amenities of a much larger city, mainly because the population is so relatively affluent compared to the size of the city. You're getting a lot of nice stuff come in, such as grocery stores. Chapel Hill has a Wegmans, which is a bit unusual for a city of its size, but there's a Wegmans, Harris Teeter, there's Trader Joe's, Fresh Market, Weaver Street Market, which is a local co-op grocery store owned by the local population. They have a lot of organic and natural foods there. Really, really nice. And of course, just about any other grocery store you can imagine, the Lowe's grocery store, Food Line, etc., is in Chapel Hill. Again, only with 65,000 residents, it's kind of surprising how many nice grocery stores there are, but again, it's because of the affluence of the population. Beyond just grocery, there's also plenty of shopping to do. We've already told you about University Place. Again, this is a great place to go if you are looking for a gift for someone that maybe has everything, or you want something a little bit eclectic, some really cool shops there. Definitely recommend checking out University Place. And then we've kind of touched on it a little bit in the past of this video, but I want to go into a deep dive on Streets at South Point. This is the regional mall, one of the two biggest malls in the Raleigh Triangle area, in addition to Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh. But Streets at South Point sort of covers people in Durham and Chapel Hill and all points around there, Mooresville, etc. This is a true traditional big box mall with some outdoor restaurants and shopping attached to it. Really, really the place you go to. Quite frankly, living in Wake Forest, 40 minutes away, we still go to Streets of South Point because there's so much there. Not only do you have a Belk's department store, but you also have Lululemon, you have an Apple store, you have tons of nice restaurants, really, really cool stuff in Streets at South Point. Again, super great location. So again, this is the place to go if you want like the big giant department store variety of product or variety of restaurants. As well, there's some smaller strip malls and mall shopping opportunities in the Chapel Hill Carborough area, including Carmill Mall in Carborough. This used to be an old mill that's been converted into some eclectic shops. Really, really nice. And there's Eastgate Shopping Center. This is a traditional strip mall, but one of its big claims to fame, beyond having some really cool stores, is that that is where the Trader Joe's is located. So definitely want to check out Eastgate. And beyond all of these, shopping-wise, you've got to include in Franklin Street. On East Franklin is more traditional college, like restaurants and souvenir shops, whereas on West Franklin you're going to have a lot more of the eclectic shops that the older crowd may be more interested in. So again, if maybe you can't find some really cool present for someone at University Place Mall, you maybe want to go to West Franklin Street. Again, what's great about this street is it is truly the main street of Chapel Hill and Carborough, so you're going to be able to have lots of opportunities for restaurants, shopping, bars, etc. right on Franklin Street. Next up, let's talk about the type of housing you're going to be able to find in Chapel Hill. With Chapel Hill by and large built out, most of what you're going to find in Chapel Hill is going to be a resale home. In fact, fully 95% of all the homes currently for sale in Chapel Hill are resale homes, which if I did my math correctly means that 5% are new construction homes. As well, also, the majority of homes in the Chapel Hill area are going to be detached single-family homes, 77% as such, with only about 10% of the homes being townhomes and 12% of the homes for sale being condominiums. As far as prices go, home prices tend to be higher in Chapel Hill than in other parts of the Raleigh Triangle area, mainly because of lack of inventory, lack of supply, and demand that people have to want to be as close to the city center as possible. This means new construction homes, single family new construction homes, typically are coming in around $1 million to $1.5 million. And as far as new construction townhomes, we really can't give you a price on what that would cost because there really hasn't been very much new construction townhome development in Chapel Hill lately. However, condominiums new construction wise, you're looking anywhere between $300,000 and $500,000. And for resale condos, you're looking around $310,000 or so. And for resale townhomes, you're looking around $400,000 to $450,000. And lastly, if you're interested in a resale single family home, you're looking to pay somewhere in the range of $750,000 to $1 million. Okay, now that we've talked about percentages and prices for homes in the Chapel Hill area, let's talk about where there is to live. We're going to give you a few of the notable neighborhoods to give you a feel for what Chapel Hill is like. We're going to start with downtown Chapel Hill, where most of the homes are single family homes. These are historic homes by and large that have been here for quite a while. Very few teardowns ever happen in Chapel Hill, so therefore homes are starting at about $1 million and people are tending to go in and renovate the homes that are standing there. Beyond that, there are some townhomes and condominiums in downtown Chapel Hill, mainly just off of Franklin Street, with prices ranging currently between $250,000 and $550,000. Another place that people choose to live in Chapel Hill is Governor's Club. This is a bit of a ways out from the city center. It is a gated community, mega large community with a golf course, clubhouse, pools, etc. And there are still some new construction opportunities in Governor's Club, few lots available to build on, but by and large most everything in Governor's Club has been built out, and these range from smaller cottage homes all the way up to mega estate homes in Governor's Club. Next up, we need to tell you about 3 different mixed-use new urbanism neighborhoods. So if you're familiar at all with Raleigh, you would think about Bedford at Falls River, that has a mix of nice homes in, tree-lined streets, commercial area somewhere in the neighborhood with a pool and a clubhouse. These 3 neighborhoods are exactly like that. We're going to start with Meadowmont, which is probably the closest when you're coming into Chapel Hill. You're going to pass by Meadowmont. Again, this is a mixed-use neighborhood with a variety of housing options, award-winning neighborhood. It is sold out, so you're looking at primarily resale homes in here. Commercial area in the front. Phenomenal neighborhood, really successful, done really well, and great location because you can get onto Interstate 40 in just a matter of minutes from Meadowmont, which makes it a great benefit over many other places in the Chapel Hill area to live in. Next up, beyond Meadowmont, the next new urbanism neighborhood we want to tell you about is Southern Village. This is on the other side of Chapel Hill. Again, we told you about Al's Burger Shack being in Southern Village. Again, there is a commercial area right at the front. This is a very attractive neighborhood, lots of green space, and the streets are very windy in a nice sort of developed sort of way. One great thing about both of these neighborhoods, they feel like they've been there for 50, 60, 70 years, and the character of the homes would suggest that as well. Both relatively new neighborhoods, new as in 15, 20 years old, so really great amenities, high-speed internet, great commercial that you can walk to from your house. Really cool thing. And again, both of these neighborhoods in really hot demand. The third and final one we want to tell you about is called Briar Chapel. This is designed, created, developed by the same folks that have brought us Wendell Falls and Wendell. So if you know anything about that neighborhood, you know how amazing Briar Chapel is. Again, mostly sold out, a few little last opportunities, but really well designed, phenomenal builders built in Briar Chapel. This is on the way to Pittsboro, so you're sort of between Chapel Hill, like the hospital part of Chapel Hill, and Pittsboro, so a little bit of a drive, but ideally suited for people who either have a commute into Chapel Hill or Pittsboro, or do a work from home situation because high-speed internet, of course. But Briar Chapel, very successful neighborhood, really very up and coming section of the Chapel Hill area there. And as we will see when we talk about some of the new construction homes in Chapel Hill, a lot of them are out in this Briar Chapel, Pittsboro area. And by the way, if this video is making you want to move to the Raleigh, North Carolina area, my team of experienced real estate agents and I would be honored to help you find your next dream home. Contact us at the information below. We'll be happy to get things started. And speaking of new construction, let's get into some of the new construction opportunities in the Chapel Hill area. Starting with Chestnut Creek. This is a 14-lot neighborhood where all of the lots are about 1.5 acres each, and homes are starting at about $900,000 and going up. As well, there's Green Bay. This is an 11-lot neighborhood where all of the lots are very large. They're over 5 acres each, and homes currently are coming in around $1.4 million for homes in Green Bay. And of course, Green Bay and Chestnut Creek are single-family detached homes, as you can imagine. Next up, we have the Summit at Morgan Ridge. This neighborhood has single-family homes as well, starting at around 4,000 square foot for these homes. This is in Chatham County, very close to that Briar Chapel we talked about earlier. Home plans in here go up to 5 bedrooms and up to 3.5 bedrooms. These are traditional single family homes. Next up, we have Sanderway. This is an 18 lot neighborhood in Chapel Hill. Great location. You can walk to McDougal Elementary and middle schools from this neighborhood, and prices currently are coming in around 1.1 million for homes in this neighborhood. Next, we need to tell you about Stenat, and I apologize if I butchered that name, Stenat Place. It is a townhome community. Prices are ranging around $485,000 currently in this neighborhood. These are 2-story townhomes, new construction, with square footages ranging from about 1,500 square foot up to 1,900 square feet. They have 3 different floor plans in this neighborhood. Very well received. Great location, and again, great townhome community. We also need to tell you about another really well received neighborhood out on the way to Chatham County near Briar Chapel called Westfall. This is a 113 lot neighborhood. The lots are around a ½ acre each. Prices range from the 800s all the way up to over $2 million for homes in Westfall. This neighborhood has lots of amenities, including a community pool and clubhouse, tot lot, dog park, and walking trails, and just a really great neighborhood feel. This is a traditional neighborhood if you want that clubhouse, pool, community feel. Westfall is definitely a good option for you. And in addition to living in the Chapel Hill area where we've talked about, there's also some towns around Chapel Hill that maybe are not quite as expensive that give you the same feel and fairly easy access into the Chapel Hill area, like the Chapel Hill hospitals, etc. One of the big ones we need to tell you about is, of course, Pittsboro. We've been kind of touching on that in this video a little bit. Pittsboro is a very up and coming town, about 30 minutes outside of Chapel Hill, and the big claim to fame of Pittsboro lately has been Chatham Park. It is a mega huge multi-use, mixed-use development with shopping, restaurants, office space, apartment space, and certainly housing. This is a great place to live if you want to have the Chapel Hill experience without quite having the Chapel Hill prices. Prices in Chapel Hill range from $400,000 all the way up to $1.1 million. And of course, tons of amenities as you could imagine in this neighborhood with pools and clubhouses, etc. This is also the neighborhood that Disney has selected to build its second Story Living by Disney community. Asteria is the name of that project. We've talked about it quite extensively on this channel, and they are getting underway very soon with building out Asteria. This will be a game changer for not only Pittsboro and Chatham Park, but also for the entire Triangle area. Another great neighborhood in Pittsboro is Chapel Ridge. This is a very nice high-end neighborhood with prices ranging between $800,000 and over $1.5 million for homes in Chapel Ridge. Beyond Pittsboro, there's also Carborough. Carborough's literally next door at the hip of Chapel Hill, but prices tend to be a little bit lower. Carborough's also the area where you can find a lot more contemporary homes. So if you like the sleek, contemporary, modern look, Carborough is probably going to be a good fit for you. So you definitely want to include Carborough in on your search because, again, super easy, literally a 5 to 10 minute drive from your house in Carborough into Chapel Hill. So definitely a good option to consider in your home search. As well, there's Durham. We've already talked about South Durham, which is also attached at the hip of Chapel Hill. So very difficult sometimes for people to know if they're in Chapel Hill or in South Durham. It's another really great option for homes in around the Chapel Hill area and somewhat less expensive than what you're going to find in Chapel Hill. And further out, about a 20 to 30 minute drive to the west of Chapel Hill is Hillsborough, North Carolina. This is another quaint town with some really good up and coming new construction and resale homes. Easily accessible if you live in Hillsborough to get into Chapel Hill for work or shopping, etc. Definitely a great option that we would recommend if you're looking to buy in the Chapel Hill area. Again, as you can tell by what we've been describing here, there's lots of options around, not only in Chapel Hill, but in the various towns around Chapel Hill. Reach out to us and we'll be happy to match you up with the ideal situation for you. Next up, let's talk about things to do in Chapel Hill, entertainment-wise. Certainly there's Franklin Street. We've touched on that in this video. Not going to go into very much detail right at this point, but you can imagine East Franklin, West Franklin. There's plenty of shopping, restaurants, bar scene if you're into that. Really cool area. Beyond just Franklin Street though, there's lots of other stuff to do in the Chapel Hill area, including going and hanging out, walking around campus. From getting your picture taken at the Old Well to walking down to the Bell Tower or to Keenan Stadium where football is played, or the Dean Smith Center where basketball is played. There's really lots of really cool things to do on campus, walking around, getting exercise especially. No time of the year is any better to go visit the campus than the springtime, when everything is budding out and you've got the dogwoods and all of the spring flowers, etc. Definitely a great thing to do is to make a trip to Chapel Hill in the springtime. And then not only is it great to walk around the campus, but there's definitely a really cool thing I want to split off from the rest of campus and tell you about. It's called Coker Arboretum. This is a 5-acre arboretum right in the middle of campus. Super pretty area, been very well developed. It's part of the university. Great year-round opportunity to go hang out, commune with nature, and see flowers and plants and trees, etc. Obviously in the spring it's the best time, so we recommend most certainly Coker Arboretum in the spring. As well on campus, there's also the Carolina Theater. This is an on-campus historic venue where you can catch a live performance, and there's many special events here. Definitely want to check the schedule to see what's coming to Carolina Theater. Definitely worth your while to coincide with a trip to the area. And beyond the Carolina Theater, there's also the Playmakers Repertory Company. This is a performance theater on the UNC campus where you can see high quality plays and musicals. In the past, there's been such shows and performances as Death of a Salesman, Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, and Murder on the Orient Express. As well as all of these live performance venues that you can find in Chapel Hill and on campus, there's also museums on campus and in the area. One such museum that you need to know about is the Ackland Art Museum. This has approximately 21,000 pieces of art. American, European, African, Asian, and North Carolina pottery and art are all represented here at the Ackland. As well, there's the Carolina Basketball Museum, which celebrates all things Carolina basketball. Admission to this place is free. It's very cool. Been wanting to go do this for quite a while, but it celebrates all of the different accomplishments of the UNC Chapel Hill Carolina basketball team. Another great thing to do if you're in Chapel Hill is go to the North Carolina Botanical Garden. This is a 700-acre botanical garden area in Chapel Hill. They have over 5,900 plant species from North Carolina and South Carolina. Very well regarded, very well known gardens in the Chapel Hill area. Next up, let's talk about the niche.com ratings for Chapel Hill. Overall, Chapel Hill gets a score of A+, and public schools also come in at an A+. Housing gets a C+, mainly because of lack of supply. Jobs get a B+. Cost of living gets a C+. Unfortunately, cost of living in Chapel Hill is about 14% higher than the national average. And commute time in Chapel Hill from niche.com gets an A+. So what are the cons of moving to Chapel Hill? Well, unfortunately, you can guess Chapel Hill is very centered around the college student population and atmosphere, which some people may not be into and may not be excited about. Again, I've talked about that older people have been moving into Chapel Hill, and by older I mean already graduated. So general population of Chapel Hill ranges from 0 years old to 99 years old, and so population is pretty spread out by and large. Lots of single young people have moved to Chapel Hill because of the scene and the lively atmosphere that you can find there, as well as people that went to school there and remained after school. But that being said, the area is dominated by the university. When there's a football or basketball game going on, it's really hard to get a dining table at a restaurant anywhere in Franklin Street area, or really even in the Chapel Hill area. Traffic can be a little bit more snarled. You get the idea. You're dominated by that university, unfortunately. So that, of course, would be a con. Another con, there's not a lot of new construction. We've touched on that because the area is fairly built out. You're not getting a lot of new construction, especially not in the city center. So that can be a con for someone that's looking for a new construction opportunity, yet still being really close to downtown. As we said, cost of living is higher. It's about 14% higher in Chapel Hill than the national average. That's just something you're going to have to accept and be aware of. You're getting an increased quality of life, but that's unfortunately coming with a cost. Another big con of Chapel Hill is that in some parts of the city, it can be a bit of a difficult commute to get to Research Triangle Park or other parts of the Triangle. You're unfortunately not super easily accessible to Interstate 40 in certain parts of Chapel Hill Carbo. You're gonna have to drive a little bit to get to Interstate 40 before you can jump off to go to Durham, to the airport, to Research Triangle Park. That's why we said it's about a 20 to 25 minute drive to Research Triangle Park from most parts of Chapel Hill. There are some parts of Chapel Hill where it's a little bit more difficult, but again, you're getting the quality of life of Chapel Hill, so it's definitely something that you either can account for by not living way deep into Chapel Hill, or accept that you're gonna have a little bit longer drive to work at Research Triangle Park if you work at Research Triangle Park, or maybe you have a work from home virtual office situation. So that would eliminate the con of the traffic, but still something that you want to be aware of. Another big con of Chapel Hill is it's fairly densely populated for its size. We told you there's about 65,000 people in Chapel Hill. This is in a relatively small area, so you can expect to have traffic be a little bit of an issue, restaurant reservations being a little bit of an issue, elbow room being a little bit of an issue at times, especially when the university is in town. Again, this is part of the whole vibe of the town, but if you want to be spread out, Chapel Hill may not be a good fit for you. Another big con of Chapel Hill kind of goes along with the cost of living. That is the cost of housing. Because they're not building a lot of new inventory in Chapel Hill, and because Chapel Hill is pretty built out, it means that prices are going to be higher than in other parts of the Triangle area. Again, you're getting that quality of life, but do know that you would need to budget a little bit more for a home in Chapel Hill than in other parts of the area. But again, if you are interested in that whole Chapel Hill lifestyle, there are other cities very, very close by. We're happy to give you some information about what those cities are like and match you up with a better fit for you if Chapel Hill is not quite in your budget. But that being said, cost of housing is a con moving to Chapel Hill. So with the cons out of the way, let's get to the pros of moving to Chapel Hill. It's probably the most beautiful, charming town in the entire Triangle area, one of the most beautiful in the state of North Carolina and in the country. So if you want that village feel with a lot of great amenities, Chapel Hill is bar none one of the best places to live. Also, with all the negatives of the university we just talked about, we have to flip the coin and talk about all the positives of the university. You've got great museums, you've got some great things to do, definitely great sports venues to go visit and take part in and root for your UNC Tar Heels. Plenty of different shows and entertainment that comes to the area quite often. Large concerts come to the Dean Smith Center. There's about 23,000 seats in there, so you can imagine you can get to see a nice, large venue concert, popular band, singer, performer, etc. would come to the Dean Smith Center. As well, there's a really good, nice, diverse set of restaurants in Chapel Hill. Again, with so many people moving into that area and wanting that lifestyle, it's causing more and more really cool restaurants to sprout up. And overall, the great quality of life you can get in Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill has been voted one of the best places to live in the entire Triangle and the entire state. You have a very highly intellectual population in Chapel Hill, so if you're looking to be intellectually stimulated in conversation with people, Chapel Hill would definitely be a great place for you. Great quality of life, as I said. There's lots of great stuff to do, great restaurants, all in a very relatively compact area. As well, Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools have been ranked some of the best schools in the entire country. So if that is an issue for you and something you need, that may mean Chapel Hill would be on your radar as a place to move to. As well, if healthcare is a big issue for you, the UNC hospital system has been ranked one of the very best hospitals in the entire nation. And luckily, living in Chapel Hill, you are only 10 to 15 minutes away from, again, one of the best hospital centers in the entire country. As well, if Chapel Hill can't fix you, you've got Duke University Medical Center maybe 15 minutes away. That makes this Chapel Hill area fantastic for someone who is looking for good medical care. And of course, because the city is so relatively dense, it's pretty easy to bike or to walk around to most things in the Chapel Hill area, especially if you live fairly close to Franklin Street. There's again tons of stuff to do on Franklin Street and in that area, and being able to walk or bike makes it a huge plus. So if Chapel Hill sounds like a place that would be interesting to you to move to, contact us at the information below. We're happy to help you out and get things started for you. Check out this video. We think you're really gonna like this one as well. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.